and thank you so much for joining me back here. Maggie. Hey there everyone, it's Moose and thank you so much for joining me back here. Today I am going to do another haul. Ethan and I recently went on a splurge. We went to 2nd and Charles. It's one of our favorite bookstores just because they sell discounted books. They reuse books. You can sell your books to them and then they will resell them too, so you're essentially buying used books. We don't care about that. What we care about is the savings. We spent $68 this past weekend on books, but we got 14 books in total. He got 7 books and then I got 7 books. $68 is not a bad deal if you go into a bookstore that only sells new books. Most of the time new books are $10 a piece. So if we had paid full price for all of these books, we would have spent probably over $150 and we got all of them for under $70. So we were pretty happy with that. I do want to point out, for those of you who haven't maybe watched my past recent videos, we did get a new dog. Her name is Maggie. Maggie had an infection when we got her from the shelter, which we were not aware of, so we took her to the vet. I keep looking over here because she's laying on the couch. But we took her to the vet and found out she had an infection and stuff. When we first got her, she just mostly laid around. She still lays around a lot. She's a very sweet dog. But since her infection is gone, she is starting to open up and liven up and chew on stuff. Ethan decided to branch out and try some Stephen King. He's usually a history buff. All he reads are history books. Maggie decided she liked Stephen King too. So I just thought I would share that little tidbit of our life with you. Maggie's a chewer and she likes hard stuff. She eats books and really any kind of hard plastic. She chew up some like PlayStation cases. Luckily they didn't have any games in them. They were just empty cases, so she didn't get like any disc shards or anything like that. She has chewed up one of Ethan's deodorant sticks. He takes his gym bag to work every day and works out at lunch, and so he had his bag laying in here and we went out for the night. We got home and she had chewed up his deodorant. She chewed up my PlayStation controller. Accidentally just turned my PlayStation on, but it still works. Obviously I just turned my PlayStation on, but she did chew it up. So yeah, in case any of you were wondering, Maggie is adjusting and starting to feel at home enough to chew up our stuff. So. But anyways, enough about my little tidbits about life. Let's jump into the video and I'll tell you what books I got, what price I got them for, and why I bought these books. First book I got was a Mark Lawrence book. It is Prince of Thorns. This is an adult fantasy book. Usually $7.99. I got it for $2.85. And it doesn't even look like it was used hardly. Like the spine isn't really cracked or anything like that, so I was pretty happy with this. Jeff and I was looking at this series when I worked back home at that bookstore. We both thought it looked interesting. Since it was so cheap, I went ahead and bought it. I usually don't like mass market paperbacks. They're just kind of tiny, but you know, $3, I'll put up with it. Next up is also a book Jeff recommended to me. It is another mass market. This one is by R.A. Salvatore. He's a pretty popular writer. This is one of his D&D books. Homeland. It's part of the Legend of Drizzt series. Drizzt, I don't know how you say that. I'm going to say Drizzt. This is book 1 in the series. You can buy the big like chunks and it has like the first 3 books all in one. But at 2nd and Charles, that book alone was like $12. I got this one for $2.90, so $3. So if I got all 3 of the books in these little mass markets, I could save a couple bucks, you know? If they're all $2.90, it's roughly $9 for the first 3. So I'll pay $9 instead of like $12. You know, not that much of a difference, but it makes a difference to me. And it might make a difference to you if you like to save money, which I do. Again, this is an adult fantasy book, just in case you were wondering. Next up, I have 2 books by Cassandra Clare. It is Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince. I have the Mortal Instrument series right here. But I had someone tell me I should read the Infernal Devices before I read those. So these were cheap. They were on sale. And they don't even look like they've been used. So like, why not? Clockwork Angel was $3.95 and then Clockwork Prince was $4.95. So still over half price from what you would pay regularly at a regular bookstore. If you have a 2nd and Charles, go check it out. I'm telling you, go check it out. So yeah, I got these. Finally get started on some Cassandra Clare, even though I'm a little late to the game at this point. Next up, I got a book I'm really excited about. I got A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book in this series, and I actually already have the next 2. I looked it up while I was in Second and Charles because I knew this one was the first one, but I didn't know like what order they went after that. And I actually have the rest of the series, so this is the only one I was missing because I bought the other 3 on sale because I knew I was going to read the series anyway, so I went ahead and bought them while they were cheap. So yeah, I finally have the first one to this. I think I'm going to read this one maybe next, the series. I am working on the Witcher series right now, so in my next series I think will be this one. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see. And just for reference, they did have some new editions of this book for full price, but this one doesn't even look used or anything. Like, you can see there's really no like breaking on the binding or anything like that. So it really looks like a new book. If you go to Second and Charles and you're looking for a specific book, just pull out each copy of the book and you can find a really cheap one. I got this one for $2.95. So it looks new, but I didn't pay a new price for it. Next up is a classic that I have actually surprisingly never read, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I figured if I'm going to be a high school teacher, high school English teacher at that, I should probably read this book. So I bought it. This one was used. The only thing with this one is it has like a little tear right here on the back cover. I don't care. You know, none of the pages are torn or anything like that. I can read it just fine the way it is. This one was originally 17 bucks. I got it for 6. This one was probably one of the most expensive books I bought in my haul. Like I say, my husband did get 7 books as well. And I think the Stephen King book I showed you was the most expensive one for him because it was a hardback. So yeah, I did get one classic at Second and Charles. My next book is one I never heard of before, but I read the little blurb and thought it sounded interesting. It is The Map of Bones by Francesca Haig, I think is how you say it. This was spined. It was just sitting up there on the shelf like this, so all I could see was this. I thought it sounded interesting. I liked the way the spine looked, so I picked it up and started reading about it. And it says it's a potential heir to the Hunger Games. And I absolutely adore the Hunger Games. I reread it every little while. I'd say once every year, year and a half, I reread the Hunger Games. I thoroughly enjoy the Hunger Games. And this was an adult fantasy section, so if this is like an adult version of the Hunger Games, hopefully I really like it. I have high hopes for this book. Even though I haven't heard anything about it, I have high hopes. And I'll let you know. So yeah, this is all the books that I hauled from Second and Charles this past weekend. It was great. If you have a Second and Charles, definitely check it out. You can get some great price books. Oh, I forgot to tell you the price of this one. This one was $5.95. And it was originally $24.99. I saved almost 20 bucks. So if you have a Second and Charles, check it out. Definitely recommend it. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe down below, leave a thumbs up, comment if you've read any of these books, if you enjoyed it, if you disliked it. Let me know what I'm in for. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back here next time. See ya! Now I can go put back on my PJ shirt. Here's Undie, in case you guys were wondering about her too. Maggie got a lot of talk today, so here's Undie. She's getting a little scruffy again. It's almost time for a haircut. Ain't that right? Look at her eyebrows. Scruffy girl. You scruffy girl.